The future of finance is here, and it's built on blockchain. Those aren't the words of a crypto enthusiast, but of central bankers that are behind Project Agora. This was once unthinkable to a lot of people, but it's quickly becoming a reality. The world's most powerful financial institutions are embracing crypto technology and marking a dramatic shift in financial markets. In this video, we're going to explore why central banks have adopted this position and examine how it might impact your investments in crypto like XRP, Algorand, or Hedera. We're going to uncover the motivations driving this adoption in blockchain and analyze its potential to reshape finance as a whole. So, in April 2024, 7 of the world's most influential central banks launched a revolutionary project that could transform how we think about money, payments, and global finance altogether. They called it Project Agora, and it was named after the ancient Greek marketplace where people gathered to trade and exchange ideas. And they're not alone. Industry giants like Circle, Coinbase, IBM, PayPal, and even Swift have joined this initiative. Yeah, you heard that right. The very same Swift system that's been the backbone of international banking for decades is now embracing this new technology. To set this up, imagine that you need to send $1,000 to someone in another country. In today's system, that money doesn't actually move directly from your account to theirs. Instead, it bounces between multiple banks, each maintaining their own separate ledger. This process is known as correspondent banking, and it typically involves 4 to 6 different financial institutions. Each bank needs to verify the transaction, update their records, and coordinate with others. And that's why international transfers can take 3 to 5 business days sometimes and cost anywhere from 4% to 11% in fees. This system was designed way back in the 1970s, and while it revolutionized international banking for the time, it's becoming increasingly outdated for our new digital world. Each bank maintains its own separate database, leading to reconciliation problems, delays, and high cost. It's inefficient and also prone to a lot of confusion. And that's where Project Agora comes in. It's led by the Bank of International Settlements and brings together central banks from France, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Switzerland, England, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Together they're building what they call a single registry system, but it's much more revolutionary than it sounds. At its core, Project Agora is creating a unified network where different types of digital assets, currencies, and traditional financial instruments can interact seamlessly. What makes it truly innovative is how it's being built. Instead of just creating a new closed system, Project Agora is embracing blockchain technology with multi-chain interoperability. So, let's break down what that means. Traditional blockchains like Bitcoin operate in their own isolated network. It's a lot like having different phone networks that can't call each other. Project Agora is working to build something more like the internet, where there's a network of networks where different blockchain platforms can communicate and work together. The technical infrastructure of Project Agora is really pretty interesting, and it's being built with a focus on specific use cases like securities settlement and trade finance. At its foundation, there's a concept called atomic settlement, and that means that transactions either happen completely or not at all. There's no in-between state where money can get stuck. All this is achieved through something called hash time-locked contracts, or HTLC. The XRP ledger's fast, cheap, and reliable consensus mechanism aligns perfectly with what central banks need, and Constellation DAG's technology with its hypergraph network, or HGTP, could play a dominant role in handling the massive data flows that this system will generate. You can think of HTLC like a digital escrow service with a built-in timer. When you initiate a transaction, the money that's locked in a smart contract, and that contract has 2 key components. There's a cryptographic hash that acts like a password and a timeout period. The recipient can only claim the money if they provide the correct password, and if they don't do it within the specified time, the money automatically returns to the sender. This really eliminates the risk of funds getting lost in transit. Project Agora takes the concept further by incorporating multiple blockchain networks, each chosen for specific strengths. There's networks like XRP, Stellar XLM, HBAR, Algorand, and they're all positioned with significant partnerships and technical capabilities that align perfectly with Agora's goals. You can think about the massive potential of tokenized treasuries, and we're talking about billions of dollars of assets flowing into real-world asset tokenization ecosystems that way. These networks are already in place, and the partnerships and infrastructure to handle this are already set up for adoption. With this, Constellation DAG technology uses a directed acyclic graph structure instead of a traditional blockchain, and it allows for parallel processing of transactions and potentially handling millions of transactions per second. But here's the big point with all this. Not all DLT will make the cut. The BIS has already made it clear that while cryptocurrency has showed what's possible with tokenization, they want something more controlled and integrated with traditional finance. Only networks that meet strict regulatory standards and offer real interoperability will be able to join in the new financial system. Hedera Hashgraph brings another innovation called asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance. This, along with the XRP ledger's consensus mechanism and others, allow the networks to reach consensus even if some of the participants are acting maliciously or the network conditions aren't perfect. Maintaining uptime and reliability is really a critical element settlement for the global financial system that needs to operate 24/7 without any errors. One of the interesting features is that Project Agora is focused on EVM compatibility. The Ethereum virtual machine acts like a universal translator for smart contracts, and when a developer writes a smart contract, they need to write different versions typically for them to work on different blockchain networks. With EVM being set as the standard, the same code will be able to run on multiple networks with significant reduction in complexity and potential errors. Now let's talk about how this works in practice. Imagine a company in the United States needs to pay a supplier in Japan. In today's system, that would involve multiple banks with currency exchanges and days of waiting. With what Project Agora is set out to do, here's what happens. First, the payment is initiated through a smart contract. This contract automatically converts the dollars into a digital token at the best available rate. Project Agora is set out to solve one of the biggest challenges in blockchain technology, and that's privacy. When you really stop to think about it, does anyone really believe that the tokenized real-world assets worth billions of dollars are going to be traded and settled on public networks where everyone can see everything? It's not going to work for banks handling sensitive financial data. And that's where networks like LF0 and XDC come into play. LF0 provides a lot of functionality for zero-knowledge proofs, and XDC's subnet technology enables private transaction networks. Together, they can create a system of selective transparency where participants can see only their own transactions rather than everything being visible on public logs. Zero-knowledge proofs are like being able to prove that you know a password without actually revealing the password. And in Project Agora, that means that banks can verify transactions without expressing sensitive details. The selective transparency system works through multiple layers, and at the base layer, all transaction data is encrypted. Above this are various permission layers that determine who can see what information, and banks can see what transactions are relevant to their operations, while regulators can access the data they need to for oversight, but it doesn't allow the general public to see all the sensitive details. This is achieved through a technique called homomorphic encryption, which allows calculations to be performed on encrypted data without decrypting it. Imagine being able to calculate someone's taxes without ever actually seeing their income. That's the kind of privacy and protection that we're talking about. Now, what this technology is being used for goes way beyond simple payments. Project Agora enables something called programmable money, and the ability to program money is becoming a key financial innovation. Each token in the system can be programmed with specific instructions about where, when, and how it should move. One big element that goes into enabling this is functionality within the Ethereum virtual machine. With Axelar bringing interoperability to all of these networks that are involved, you'll see the ability for smart contracts to work across different blockchains seamlessly. Central authorities maintain control over the monetary supply, while private companies can innovate and create new financial products on top of the infrastructure. For example, a business could create a payment to automatically split into different percentages for various suppliers, and then convert the appropriate currencies and only execute when certain conditions are met. This system also allows for atomic swaps between different types of assets, so you could trade stocks for bonds or real estate for some other asset. These kind of transactions can happen instantly, without intermediaries and with guaranteed settlement. All of this is going to revolutionize everything from day trading to international real estate investment. The integration of AI adds another layer of sophistication to this, and AI algorithms can analyze transaction patterns to detect fraud, optimize currency conversions, and even predict market movements. Machine learning models can adapt to changing market conditions in real time and ensure the most efficient routing of payments across the network. So this brings us back to an interesting connection with XRP. It's likely that the XRP ledger's DEX will work to service the liquidity pools within Project Agora. And with that, it'll be able to help facilitate efficient cross-border payments with its ability to handle different currency pairs and low transaction costs, which really makes it suitable for high-frequency, low-value transactions that are really underserviced by traditional banking. And all this is going to be operating within a very complex regulatory framework. Project Agora is implementing something called regulatory subtech, technology that automatically ensures compliance within financial regulations. Smart contracts can be programmed to follow specific rules for different jurisdictions and automatically report necessary information to relevant authorities, and do all that while maintaining privacy for all the other aspects of the transaction. Project Agora represents a fundamental reimagining of how money moves in the digital age. The combination of instant settlement, programmable money, and privacy preservation could enable financial products that we haven't even imagined yet. So with all that, you can see that institutional adoption is already here, and it's growing. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.